Yeah, great trip. Went to 2 different camps. And on the way back,
No. I will.
Oh, okay.
No, I will.
You're off the hook. Just regular flag. You about ready? I have it here. Yeah, that's good.
I'm pretty sure it's Mary.
Yes, sir. I'll take that as a nay. That's a nay.
You're trying to figure out.
Yeah.
Maybe.
This is you got to talk that yeah, right. And what's worse, it gets you low. Good morning. Yeah, I came here. I'm in here. Yeah, good. You can play. Appreciate it. Welcome to the, there we go, good morning. Welcome to the weekly meeting of the Rotary Club of Harleysville. Let's stand and start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States
of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And now the four-way test. All the things we say and do. Is it the truth?
The truth. Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial for all concerned?
And the reflection this week will be from Lon Clemmer.
Yeah, can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, let's pray. God of peace, we invite you to be present over this meeting. Give us unity of spirit. Help us each to listen and share other points of view. Help us to work as a unified team and combining ideas for a great outcome. Help us to work as a whole. And may we have a spirit of camaraderie in this room and work together on our shared mission. Amen.
Thank you. Okay, well, back on East Coast time. Very excited to have this opportunity to have my first meeting with the club as your new president. And from what I've seen in the notes from the last couple of meetings, a lot of great things are going on. So let's get started. So the first item that we'll talk about for the upcoming calendar is the Rooster Scramble. Lon, do you have an update or any information that you want to share about that?
Yeah, I would love to. We're getting some sponsors in, but right now is time to. We're about a month out, so I wanted to send an email out last week, and I got busy with some other things. So I'm going to send an email out with the sponsorship list with our Rotary members that can reach out to companies and whatnot, and also the raffle basket list. So I will try to get that out. I'll reply to one of Valerie's emails this week to everybody.
Yeah. I bet there's an electrician having breakfast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They have enjoyed Rogan.
Yeah.
Let me guess, you didn't get all that.
Okay, we'll go back to the golf outing since Gary's here. Gary, do you have an update or any information that you want to share about the croquet tournament coming up on September 17th?
We do have sponsorship forms and such. If you want to sponsor one of the teams or play, you want to play. It's $100, $75 a piece. And we are making good head to the sponsorships. So we'd like to see more. We've got $150 for Mark, but it's something. So we are early, a couple things going on. Your mom's staying here jabbering. Funds for our favorite charity, Heart Health. It is at our location. We sort of did away with it for a couple of years with COVID, and now it's back. So it's friendly. It's got food bounces and slides and all inflatable stuff. The stuff you can bring to the Halloween parade. We'll have all of that and have food and such. We have had in the past to cook burgers.
Okay.
Dip ice cream. You're nodding your head. Were you there, Dan? Yeah. Dan was there, Ray was there, several people were there the last time. Right? I was there, I wasn't cooking. Oh, well, you can cook this time.
Glenn and I will do the hot dogs.
So this is August 6th, from 10 to 2 is when the event is.
Can you give it to Valerie so she can put it in the meeting notes?
Where you go.
Does anybody have any questions about that?
You can help out.
Or about the croquet tournament?
Okay, Valerie would like a little bit more clarification as to what the event
What the
is.
event is? You said we're supporting Garden Health, but what is the event?
The event is just a
Open house.
open house.
Is it a silent auction?
I'm sorry, I forget to mention that. There is a silent auction as well. Yes. We're trying to raise $15,000 for Carol. Now, if you really like Carol, you'll be raising your hand. Come out there and help us. It's just a couple hours, it is a lot of fun, and it's a way to get food, we out in front of people. It's a project. It's like road cleanup.
Thank you, Gary. Lon, I'm sorry, we lost the power for a moment. Can you give us an update on where we are with the golf tournament?
Yes, I can. I'm not sure if you heard anything, but we're about a month out, and now is the time we do have some sponsors coming in. I will send out I'll reply to one of Valerie's emails with the sponsor list, the donations, and also the raffle basket list. I'll try and get that updated and out this week. I wanted to do it last week, but I got busy. But now's the time to get on it for, well, golfers too. So does
Okay.
Valerie, do you have the sponsor form and the golfer form?
No.
Okay, I'll get that to you as well.
Are there any like regular, like important sponsors that we normally have for the golf tournament that we don't have signed up yet?
I can get that information.
Okay.
It's all coming, but I don't know it off the top of my head. I can
Okay.
compare it to last year's list.
Okay. All right, because I know one of the things that I was talking to Dean about was I was going to go over the hotel. I hadn't had a chance to get over there yet, so I want to
I
make
know
sure.
we have not submitted.
Okay, so I'll get over there probably today. Talk to them. Any other questions or comments about the golf tournament? Yeah, we have a lot of things coming up this fall. They're going to be one right after the other. So we're going to make sure that we focus our efforts on those things. And then we'll have a nice relaxing holiday season. And then we'll have a break before we start to plan for our winter event at the bowling alley. I know we are going to have a meeting this week, I think, about the Halloween parade. And I think Dean did solidify a date for that. Dean, do you have anything you want to say about that? I think we talked October 22nd.
It could be
Right?
October 22nd. There's no rain date this year. The police called me and said we can't supply manpower. Too many things going on in October. So we try to get a Zoom meeting out there. I sent the people that were in the committee last year.
Okay, thank you. I think having it a week before Halloween is a great opportunity because, like, as Dean just mentioned, there's so many events that go on in the fall that, If we're a week ahead, then we may not be competing with the events that are pretty much the weekend of Halloween. Any other questions or comments about that from anybody? And that's it for the calendar. So, yes.
August 11th, we're doing the parking for the 4-H again. I'll get a list out for that. We're just gonna do one day. Thursday? I'm sorry, no, the 12th, Friday. August 12th. I'll put a sheet together and send it out. 9 to 9. I'll be there.
He just committed to the whole 12 hours.
We heard him.
You'll see me there.
So we're just doing Friday, Dean, and it's probably at our usual spots at both sides? Okay. Any questions or comments about that? We've always been a great supporter of the 4-H, so I think it's important that we're, see if we can have volunteers come out for that day. And the shifts are three hours apiece. Yeah. So next, we're going to get into today's program, and our classification talk today is going to be from Mr. James Christian Craft Boat Hardy.
Yes, so my name is James Hardy, Jim Hardy, and if you attend church or you grew up with me, Jamie Hardy. So if I see one of my high school or middle school kids here, they're gonna call me Jamie. You can call me whatever you want. My ex-wife called me a lot of things. So I'm relatively local. I was born and raised in Bucks County, born at Abington Hospital. Attended Central Bucks, so we have some Central Bucks alumnus here. Anybody else besides Lisa and John?
You like to beat them at football.
When I,
You big farm boys out here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
my graduating year, East and West were both undefeated. And I remember the day that they were gonna play together. And unfortunately, I went to East, and unfortunately we lost. West was undefeated that whole year. But great experience growing up in Central Bucks. I grew up in Warrington, and the area was booming in the 80s. So Central Bucks was redistricted to the point where I went to like 4 different elementary schools. I went to Warwick, Buckingham, Kutz, and then Tamanin was switched from a middle school to an elementary school, and then back. And then again in middle school, I went to Lenape, Tamanin. Finally, so because of that, I met so many different students and had so many different friends. By the time I got to Central Bucks East, I pretty much knew everybody that was there because I went to the elementary school with all of them. So interesting time to grow up, raised by the last great generation, I think, my grandparents. I was very close to them and learned a lot about what they went through, the Great Depression. My grandfather, self-made man, had a machine shop, started right after high school and opened his own machine shop and learned all about that. And so I feel I've been very blessed and enriched by the experiences I had. I don't know how things are going nowadays, the experiences that people have, but being raised in around all that, I think has been beneficial to me. So raised very conservatively, grew up in church. Back then it was Memorial Baptist Church in Huntington Valley was like the big church to go to, and raised in that church, a lot of influence. And then we started attending a church more local to us, Warrington Fellowship Church. And what was interesting about Warrington Fellowship Church was our youth pastor was Charles Zimmerman, who's now over at Calvary. But back then it was Chuck Zimmerman, which he'll never admit to. And that's a true story. He was Chuck Zimmerman, the youth pastor. And he was hip and cool and young. This is before he went to New York. So because of that, the affiliation that they had with all different area churches, I started to know a lot of people that went to Calvary here in Souderton. So developed a lot of relationships with people that went to Calvary. So when I eventually moved up this way, I already knew a lot of people in the community. So, service. At a young age, being involved in church, learned a lot about service projects, helping the community. School back then was very community-based. We did a lot of things for the community. Some of the influences I had, some of the more unpleasant influences I had, which were good and most people would enjoy, that I did not enjoy, was acting and singing. And because apparently I had a lot of talent in those areas, I was forced to sing at church monthly and at every holiday. And my mom signed me up to audition to a short movie that was being developed in an acting school that was forced to attend in Lansdale. These are pleasant memories now, but back then, so there was a Temple grad that had this project, and I forget a lot of the details of it, but he was auditioning young people to be in this movie. And we go to this thing. I remember it was a really hot day, Saturday morning, and the line, children that wanted to audition this. We're waiting, it's hot, and I don't want to do this. I don't want to be there. It was a fight getting me there, so I'm already like fighting with my mom. I guess I was 10. It was 1987. I had a 98, oldies 98 WOGL shirt on. It was black with gold lettering. Apparently, that helped because I got the part that I auditioned for. Out of 400 and some odd children, I got the part. So the next summer, we were down in the Badlands of Kensington, underneath the L, filming. I was 11 years old. And that was quite an experience. We would get down there, we would have to be there at 7 in the morning. Yeah, so that was quite a summer. And it was very stressful, long, hot days being down there, but it was left a mark on me. And it was very interesting. But after that, that was the end of that. Because when I got into middle school, no more singing, no more acting. I didn't want to do any more of that. So another influential part of my life happening in middle school was I started working. Apparently, I caught the attention of our new youth pastor of Warrington Fellowship, Scott Jackson, of someone that wanted to work hard, someone that, I was always doing service projects and things like that. So there was a business owner at our church that had a carpet clean business, asked our youth pastor, do you know any middle school or high school kids that want a part-time job? Jamie Hardy does. Jamie Hardy wants a job. So I started working for him. And my first take, he had this guy come and pick me up on this carpet. It's a really interesting experience. This carpet cleaning truck pulls out in front of my house, and he has a roll of carpet all the way from the back of the truck to the front. I can't even see who's driving this truck. I have no idea who I'm going to go for, because this carpet, his name was Mark. And my first experience of that day was, I was very impressed with the machinery that we were using. We had this big truck-mounted machine. You had to start it up, had a very powerful engine, and this was so we did 3 residential carpet clean jobs that day, and I was hooked. This is great. We're running around this truck, playing instant gratification. You're seeing the soil coming up. You're using this machinery. We have uniforms on. I mean, this was, as a young kid, I guess I was 14. So the rest of that summer, I worked long hours. That started feeding into some very expensive habits that I was developing. Legal. Boats, airplanes, model trains. Growing up, my grandfather had a powerboat in the Delaware River. Favorite thing in the world was to be out on that boat. How much time do I have? Do you time me? You're good. Okay. Just give me a 2-minute.
How old are you?
We have a long way to go. Give me a 2-minute warning, please. Another 30 minutes? Good. So when I was 16, I had saved up my money and I bought a powerboat, an inboard outboard 19-foot boat. As a 16-year-old kid, I just felt great about that, and really started putting a lot of work into that. Stopped doing homework. That was a pet peeve. In Central Bucks, you were given 10 minutes of homework per grade. So in 6th grade, you were given 60 minutes of homework. 9th grade, you were given 90 minutes of homework. Not every night, but that was the requirement. And to this day, 45 years old, that's a mistake, I believe, in my personal opinion. So when I got into 10th grade, I decided I'm not doing my homework anymore. I wouldn't do my homework. After work, I got into that carpet clean truck and I had to work. I didn't have I had to work to support my habit. Nowadays, I see kids that are just inundated with extracurricular homework, dance, sports, chess. So it started becoming an issue with grades, started becoming an issue of whether or not I was going to graduate or not. I remember, my frontal lobe wasn't fully developed. Maybe it's still not fully developed. Grades were a problem. My intelligence wasn't a problem. Grades were a problem. I had a very good relationship with Central Bucks school teachers. I loved being at that school, loved talking with teachers, did not like the homework I was assigned, so I didn't do it. So finally I realized I was gonna have a problem graduating in 12th grade, especially in my algebra class, because I wouldn't do any of the homework. So I approached a teacher and I said, I'm not gonna be able to graduate. He's like, no, you're not gonna be able to graduate. I said, what do I gotta do to graduate? There's no way, there's no mathematical way I can graduate. I'm new enough about. He's like, I'm gonna give you 4 homework assignments to do. Make up those 4 homework assignments and you can graduate. I graduated. I never got a final report card. My mom's like, where's your, I never got, what's going on with the report? I would not, I got a diploma and I got the walk, I would not ask, so those are things I'm really not all that proud of. But I got good marks with tests, I got good marks with projects, things like that, but homework I did not want to do. So, but I wanted to work, I loved being out on that truck. So, developed more expensive habits, got my pilot's license, started flying a lot, working for my boss. Relatively good experience, I learned a lot, I wanted to do more. And when I was 25 years old, I decided I had saved my money. I was always very conservative with money. I decided I want to start my own carpet cleaning business. So I went out and I bought a fully loaded carpet cleaning truck with no debt. The truck in my grandparents' garage, and then I had to make the jump. And so I had this really well-paying, relatively speaking, carpet cleaning job. But I got to make this jump. I'm out in boats, flying airplanes, doing all this kind of stuff. I'm going to go from that to nothing, Found out that one of our competitors wanted to retire, wanted to sell his business. Very beloved person, went, spoke to him, asked him how much he wanted for the business. After talking for a while, I couldn't believe how reasonable it was. Bought the business July 1st, 2002. This year is our 20th year in business. Great experience, never looked back. Got married, got divorced, not proud of that, couldn't control it. Had no opinion in that. Learned a lot from that. Became very involved in Calvary's divorce care ministry. Went through the ministry, benefited from it so much I became a facilitator in the ministry, wanted to give back to the ministry. You take these, life hands you a bad situation. Can you learn through it? Can you do something good with it? Or do you want to wallow in it? I don't like to wallow. So I wanted to learn, how do I not get divorced again? How do I learn through this? How does this draw me closer to God? How does this, what are the decisions I made that contributed to that? So these are the things I kind of went through and all that. The business, I cleaned carpets and I went home. Met my new wife, decided I really wanted to grow the business. In 2015, I really started working more hard on networking, which was out of my comfort zone. I wasn't really big in promoting myself. My regret was not doing that sooner. I really should have joined the chamber. I really should have joined Rotary. I really should have gotten more involved in the community outside. I was very involved in church, but I shouldn't have limited myself to just that. I should have been more involved. And if I were to give anyone advice that was starting a business, it would be getting involved in the community right away. I'll close out my classification speech with some SAGs. A lot of SAGs with COVID. Totally underestimated COVID, scoffed at COVID. I'm a tough guy, I can walk COVID off. If somebody gets COVID, they should just walk it off. Not a big deal. The government's making a big deal about it. Overly exaggerated. And then they killed my mom. Unexpected. Packed to go to Disney. My mom was another one I fully underestimated it. Did not think that COVID would affect her. She tested positive. They pushed the trip back 2 weeks we ended up having to unpack all her stuff. Found out she had an underlying health condition that contributed to her COVID experience. I was not afraid of COVID. Again, scoffed at COVID. Respectful of other people's experience with COVID, respectful of the disease, wore my mask in people's homes, had been doing that all along, did not want to make anyone else sick. As for me, kind of a tough guy. It's not something I need to worry about. I have no underlying health conditions. Then I got COVID. And man, what an experience. They're in my room and they're talking about possibly moving me. You know, and when you're a kid and you have to be moved, that means you're in trouble. When you're in a hospital and you have to be moved, it means you're probably going to go to the ICU. I wasn't afraid of dying, but I was afraid of going into the ICU. I'd rather just die. I'd rather just die right where I was. So what an experience. Thank you to Rotary for the gift. Thank you for Gary. Thank you for Lisa Rice, who's not here. Was able to reach out to her. But man, what an experience. I hadn't been to the doctor in 30 years. I hadn't had a tetanus shot since the Clinton administration. That's how far removed I was from the healthcare community. And no explanation why I had such a bad experience with COVID. No underlying health conditions. Believe me, they searched. But a lot of life experiences that have been difficult to deal with these past 2 years. So that's left my mark on me. Ministry has changed, Rotary has changed, networking has changed. I've changed. I kind of want things to go back to the normal. I don't know if that's going to happen, but any questions about my life journey?
What brought you to Rotary?
Our favorite roofer, Gary Volpe, brought me to Rotary. Gary sold me on Rotary because he was explaining about the camaraderie of it, which I really enjoy, the service of it. I got involved in the satellite chapter, Skip Back, Eva Finland. I attended Chip Schofield's picnic, and just the camaraderie, that picnic. It just drew me right in. Unfortunately, COVID happened after that, but man, we were really cruising, and when I joined, I was very excited to be here, very happy to be here. Still very happy to be here, very excited. Any other questions for Jim Hardy, the carpet guy? Thank you very much. Thanks for letting me present.
Thank you, Jim. Before we get started with trivia, I think Dan had an opportunity to visit Stemye, and he has some pictures he wanted to share with us.
All right. Let's see. Oops. Trying to see what. I thought I was going to do that fast. Okay. So, we were one of you guys online. I hope can you guys online see this? Online, can you see this?
Yeah, I can.
Okay, all right. So we're one of some of the founding clubs for Stemye, which is similar to Club 90. It's a 3-day activity that these are middle schoolers. They get the opportunity to do things in science, technology, engineering, I guess, and math. Right? Is it engineering? Okay, engineering and math. So, and it was held up at Albright College. We supported, I believe it was 2 or 3 students. So the activity on the 11th, which was Monday, they had the final culminating event where the kids, they met Terry Hart, one of the original astronauts for the space shuttle flights. Met him, signed autographs, kids hung out. It was about 50 to 55 or 60 kids that were part of it. So I got a chance to go to help them out with the technology, so I took pictures, this video, and got a chance to take pictures of our 2 students that I heard Harleysville, so I just grabbed my phone. So young lady here, as well as Allison, who her and her mom, it a lot of great kids, and they had a pretty good time. These things that dealt with the Mars mission. So one of their things was there was a piece that had to do with Mars. It's a 2-minute video. Sure. Okay. 2-minute video real quick? Yeah. Okay. All right. Thanks. They were, this is a shot of the group. And make this a little bit bigger so everybody. Okay, and they were, Channel 69 was there from Allentown, so, oops, no sound. No sound. But what he's saying pretty much is that they had a good time with, sound. Is there sound online?
No sound online.
No sound, okay. All right, sorry about that. No sound, but, yeah, but Terry Hart was there, the astronaut. They came from Channel 69, took some pictures, talked to some of the kids about their experience. Since we were one of the founding members, I think there were, out of the 46 clubs in our district-wide event, I think there were around 24 or 26 clubs that helped get 78 off the ground. This is their inaugural event. This should be one throughout the year, but this was their first activity, and pretty well received.
Awesome. Thank you, Dan.
Let's see.
Okay. Yep. All right, boys, when you're in between bites, now we're gonna have Rotary trivia.
More enthusiasm, John, more enthusiasm.
Rotary trivia.
Yes. Yowzer, yowzer. Here, I'll get 1,000 hours. Wipe off those. Oh. Huh? All right. Well, wait. Put right here. Over here. Now we can relax. There it is. Fire your wood, please. Live from the Franconia Cafe, it's Rotary Trivia. Join us as one lucky contestant will play to win a fabulous grand prize by showing us what they know about Rotary. I'm your announcer, Larry Moss, here with your host, Phil Jenkins. Hey. Good morning, Larry. See that egg shoot out there? I might spot my ex places. Hey, where's Jim? He knows all about this acting stuff. Yeah, really. Yeah, bring him up here. Anyway. Let's talk about the prize. Okay. Well, where are we at? There's an idea. I'll ask the audience to direct their attention to our spokesperson, Harold Powers. From Darning Egg Gifts in Salverton, Pennsylvania, comes a custom kitchen apron celebrating Harley, the Harleysville Rotary mascot. This delightful handcrafted apparel is a reminder that Harleysville Rotary is the earliest rising club in District 7430. A fine local product for our amazing local club. Value of this proud rooster apron? Well, it's something to crow about. Hey, and that's no poultry gift. Or is it? I don't know. Anyway, how about introducing today's contestant? Today's contestant was selected at random from our studio audience just moments ago. When it comes to Rotary, this Rotarian knows what's cooking and is determined to leave with the apron. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a warm round of applause to Len Room.
I'm the guy that gets eaten.
You bring that rooster on board. Is that your rooster out there?
Yeah.
I thought this
And you know, that came from Bradford County. That rooster came from all the way from Bradford County.
Oh, wings must have been tired.
Well, he drove down. The rooster drove down from there.
Yeah, that's right. All right, well, here you go, Len. What was speaking of mascots, what was the 2022 RI convention mascot that was held in Houston? A dog named Astro. Ruffles. A rabbit named Rocket. A bear named Orby. Rooster named Harley. What do you think? This is a little bit trickier.
Hey.
Oh, you do have lifelines. That's right. Thank you.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
Carol's
yeah.
here.
Well,
Okay. We have a. I gave you the wrong ones. We have an applause. And then
Give him a big ooh.
Yeah, well, you know, the audience will respond in that fashion if you ask the audience with an ooh, I guess.
We need some applause, please.
Yeah, the signs are out of order. The technical difficulties.
I do not know, but I'm going to probably put my faith in the audience, but I remember this is a long time ago. A lot of these members weren't here that I trusted I knew the answer. Remember that? I knew the answer. And I wanted to see if the audience knew, and they didn't know. But
well, those members have all left.
that's right. So I'll ask the audience.
Yeah, now you're on your own. Now nobody's going to know.
So I'll ask the audience.
All right, we'll ask the audience. How many think it was Astro?
We're all thinking the bear.
Okay. Okay, how about Rocket? How about Orby? Good. Whoa. Oh, give it an ooh. Ooh. And how about that rooster? So the audience seems to think it's Orby.
Well, I think maybe there's a lot that agreed with that one, so
So now you're
I'll
going
take.
to put
Well, I'll try and put my faith in them.
give him a second chance.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, let's see what it is. See is Len's. Okay. Rooster. Oh.
Hey. All right. Okay. All right.
Wait, there's a little bit more.
Thank you.
You can wear that or give that. Official mascot of the hosting national convention. Now, the irony is I kind of looked to see what were previous ones or even what's going forward in Melbourne. Talk about that. I don't know where else is going to go. And no, I couldn't find it. I Googled it and I even went to the site, but I couldn't find it. So I don't know whether Orby is a one-off, but he had a great Facebook presence as well. So Facebook, find some video. Len, you are a winner. The audience came through for you.
Thank
I'll
goodness.
straighten out those cards next week. And we're in business. All right, enjoy. And thanks for the rooster. Thanks for bringing that along. Oh, yeah.
All right, that was fun. Next, we'll, anybody have any brags or sags? We'll start with the back of the room, work our way forward.
Okay.
There you go. Half a brag, or at least for me, it's a pleasure. Next 2 weeks, you don't have to worry about moving around, so it's our annual family vacation, so I might even have a camera.
No, how about,
Boy, you guys know how to make a guy.
Make sure you wear a hat or a
Yeah.
Oh, this is the carry.
I don't know.
The carry? Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
On Sunday afternoon, Penn Ridge had their community day. There was music and food, and the whole thing was not sponsored by, but the Percy Rotary was in charge of setting up things, and they were there the whole day, and had a chance to meet a bunch of them. And Amy, if you remember Amy, used to come in here, she was on a virtual Rotary Club, because she got tired of that, and she joined the Percy Rotary, and she's the president-elect, so she is gonna be the president next year of Percy when I'm the president here.
Wow.
So hopefully we'll be able to get something together, service project, or happy hour or something like that. But it was fun to meet a bunch of the Percy Rotary, and they did a great job at the community day.
Give me exercise.
So my youngest daughter got engaged yesterday. We've known for 2 weeks. He came and asked for my husband and I's approval, and then he had to call her brother and ask for his approval also, because the first one did that. The first one knew that if he didn't do that, he might not make it to his wedding, which is in Labor Day weekend.
Congratulations.
He's a good kid.
Anyone else?
Yeah, I've got one.
Okay.
We talk about service above self, you know, we give a couple bucks here and there, we help on the service project. I was talking to my son's mother-in-law. They had 6 children in 6 years, 2 more, they had 8. Friend of the family died, the husband died, they had 6 kids. This family with 8 kids took in another 6 kids. Talk about service above self.
Right.
When you have comments at the end.
Okay.
For the comments, then Ruth and I showed up on, Saturday, Friday, Saturday. Yeah. Anyway. It was too long ago. Yeah, it was too, can't remember that far back. Anyway, we got a call, I think, Dean or gave me a call, all of a sudden said, hey, they're having a event or whatever, the newspaper, the guy from the newspaper was
better.
The playground. And we supported
Yeah.
a 4-way test of breakfast. And so he said, can you be out there by 12 o'clock on whatever day it is? I said, sure. So anyway, showed up and Len was there and different members of that were involved in that playground. And there was a camp going on. And the camp director gave each one of us, I think it was donated by Genesis. We supplied all the materials, hardware and everything to get it back together again. And of course the township donated all the guys to work together. So each of us, the kids all gave thank you. So this was a thank you for Rotary. And it was, they were very, very, very grateful. People were really grateful. We ended up, in case you haven't heard, we ended up using the money from 4-way breakfast, and we had money in the foundation, and the foundation money's there to use, not to save. So we had enough that we paid for the whole thing. So it came out to 13,000 and something because Ken, who was one of the honorees, he gave his $1,000 honoree $1,000 to the account. Therefore, it was the total was 14,129, something like that. And we think 15 plus the 95 or so we got from things. So it worked out really nice. And we really, we basically took care of all the finances for that. So congratulations to you, and the kids were really happy. They were happy. Really was a neat stuff.
Excellent. And Kent made a post about that on social media. I forget if it was on Facebook or on LinkedIn. And I did mention the Rotary Club in his post. So that was a great event. It looked like a great event. I saw the picture online. Any final comments?
Just to add to Frank's there, I know a lot of the guys that
too, you know?
Yep.
They also found out that they started digging in the area. Up the chips down or whatever, they discovered a tennis court. It's under there, and they started saying, anybody know where it went and this and that. So, person who knew was Len. I won't say how many years back they went, but Len knew that there was
historic city,
yeah, that's
north of Little Russia.
I tell people, I'm there. I tell people I used to ask my dad.
He's the old rooster.
Just want to make sure I'm checking my notes. One final thing before we conclude the meeting for today. We or Chuck or anybody else in the club, that would be great. So, we talked a lot about all the different fundraising events today, and it's important to, think back on all the things that we've done in the past, kind of like on this day in 1985, when Live Aid raised 12.7 or 127, I think it's $12.7 million for famine relief in Africa. And if you can remember, that was a pretty significant event, and half of it took place in our home city of Philadelphia at the historic JFK Stadium. So as we leave today, let's make sure that we remember to start, which is what? Simply talk about Rotary today. Thank you very much. If you have any comments, since this is my first as official president hosting the meeting, please email or mail an anonymous note to the PO box if Sandy will hand it to me, or you can send me an email or just let me know first. Thank you very much. Have a great week, and we'll have the board meeting directly after the conclusion of this meeting. Thank you.
Well done.
Thank you.
You know what? Before you leave,
Filling up.
Yeah. Did you get Vince? You get Vince?
Vince, yeah, I got Vince Lynn and Dyke Leo. We had a total of 20.
Okay. Prize. Okay. Thank you, sir.
It doesn't have the name of the guy in
You know what it asks?
Vince, are you staying on for the board meeting?
I am.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, yesterday morning. Somebody else.
It's called
They apologize.
I just have,
They charged it. They had to go somewhere. They took it out. I do. I don't trust them.
Well, they do, they want to. So last week, when I out there next month, so I don't know how yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Hey.
Before that.
Do you know what'll happen? I'll be asking sponsors for help. I wasn't sure you could come here. I'm trying to get volunteers to start to help.
The what? I don't have anything. If anybody.
I do.
Well done, that's a good prize.
What happens is I'll start a couple and I can more into that style, one time and you'll like. And then I'm trying to do it for 2 different months.
Dollar store.
You have your name on your shirt. You need
He was wearing it before.
He was the sergeant at arms today.
I like your you're using parts of health.
I think
Parts of health. Who has it? The purple and the green.
Yeah, put a whole bunch of stuff up there.
I'm gonna keep mine now, because I'm gonna be, around to the other Rotary clubs and visiting. Thursday night, I'm going to the Percy. They meet at JT Bankers there in Percy. So I'm gonna stop and buy.
You're good. Say hello to the boys. Yeah, same deal. Say hello to the Rotary clubs in our district.
Start then.
Somebody asked me about something.
Really need some stuff away. Otherwise, I'd work with you. How many few people? Yeah, I know.
I threw a whole bunch of stuff. I know that answer has a special name.
That's your kid on Zoom this morning. I got a call yesterday. They recognize the number. I've been getting all these spam calls and potential spams and all these things. I finally, I'm gonna answer and say, stop calling me. And no, the name was Santiago Efrain. Like, so I answered. The person that was talking to me, that wasn't their name, it was their son or husband or whatever.
Hey, Vince, how you doing?
They
Hey Frank, how are you?
You know what, I accidentally kicked that, so Dan needs to get the clicker and turn that back on. Dan, so glad I didn't answer the phone. Like, stop calling me. You ring the bell for the board meeting? No, just call the order. Okay. All right, let's call the order. Dan, I think I jiggled the plug when I was unplugging the podium.
All right, man, sorry about that.
That's it, the TV needs to be turned back on.
Yeah, that's still on.
Okay, I'm gonna call the order at, looks like 8:56 and change.
7:56?
I'm sorry, 7:56.
We need a driver.
It's 8:56, I gotta go.
Yeah, we need to be efficient today because there is another group coming in at 9 o'clock. So we're going to start with the board meeting. So we missing anybody? Gary walked out to pay his bill.
I think Marcia's on the board.
Marcia's away. And I think that should be it. Okay. So we'll start with the secretary's report. Does anybody have any questions or have any?
So moved.
Second? Okay, so that's Frank and yeah, it must be great. The treasurer's report? Any questions about the treasurer's report? Motion to approve? Second. And next we'll go on to old business. I just moved the new business up from old business. I don't know if there's anything new having to do with event registration for Club Runner. Dan, anything new with that?
No. I think Valerie will probably need some more assistance. I'll do her hands with.
Okay, thank you, Dan. Cafe pricing, as far as I could tell from before I left, it sounded like we had that kind of worked out. I think one of the things Sandy and I talked about this morning, as some of you may recall, when we were at Peter Becker, we had a modified due structure due to what we were paying for the room there. I think we're going to have to do the same thing here. What Sandy and I were talking about was maybe changing the dues to $80 a month, which would suffice for what we have set up, or no, I'm sorry, quarter. For how we're doing things here. For how we're doing things here at the cafe. Does anybody have any questions or comments about that?
I'm gonna make a comment. I look back and see what we paid for So this is $90 here, it was $110 a week. So I'm suggesting then it was $90, so I'm recommending that they go to $80. I didn't just set up. $40 more a year. $40 a year. And I think this is, I like this.
Okay. I'd like to make a move to approve.
God's like.
You made a motion, right? Is there a second motion?
We had two motions down there where you weren't looking. Yeah, your head turned my way. You talked a little bit about before I left about changeover pins. I think we have maybe one or two, but not the full complement for everyone who that would get one. So I think it'd be a good idea if we ordered them. So we'd like to make a motion to approve. Okay, that's a Chuck, you do, you will second that?
Just talk, what are you talking, which ones do you want? I mean, because there's all kinds of pins in there. Now, we do have, I did have, asked Larry, I have 3 past president pins, they're the ones that are kept by the past president.
Okay.
For a few minutes, move on. But I don't know which ones you want, your 2 get handed down each year.
Yep.
And I don't know which ones you want, so just whoever's ordering it, just make sure they know which.
We had a state president.
Right, we have that.
Now I'm wearing it.
You're aware of that.
We have a president, we have the president.
Vice president.